As human beings, we are tough on the landscape. We alter it for our purposes and for our pleasure. The natural ecosystem is changed or completely obliterated by us so that we can control our lives and our destiny. All of us are complicit in crushing the natural ecosystem and in killing animals, even if we don't eat them. But being distanced from farming allows us the luxury of cognitive dissonance. I mean, don't you think that? It's kind of out of sight, out of mind. We have to farm to eat, and we have to kill or displace animals, which is basically the same thing, to survive. It's kind of brutal stuff. Eating is tough stuff. It's brutal. But we got to do it, and frankly, it's pleasurable. We have to have food, but let's be aware of where it comes from, how it gets to us, and let's respect the people who do the heavy lifting and the messy and sometimes bloody work on this on our behalf. Why do I go through this? Because we're at such a distance in our society from our food and how it's produced that knowing how it comes to us, all of the steps currently and through time, provides the consumer with the greatest ability to choose wisely. This is not really any different than trying on shoes or clothes before buying them, or reading about different types of cars, or perhaps going out and test driving them before plunking down a bunch of money to buy one. Modern high-intensity commercial industrial agriculture simplifies the landscape. It creates a oneness or a kind of sameness across the landscape from horizon to horizon, just like you see in that photograph. Part of the purpose is to eliminate diversity and to promote monocultures on the land. So what is a monoculture? Well, monoculture means you grow one crop on the land and that's it. And that one crop is to sell. Now, you do this through time, which means you're going to be growing corn or bananas or wheat on that landscape all the time, every year. Through time, in order to maintain that monocultural farmland, the tractors got bigger, the water usage grew, the need for chemical fertilizers and pesticides and herbicides expanded, while at the same time, the number of people needed to do the work decreased because technology stripped the need for live physical human beings and draft animals from the equation. This allowed the overwhelming majority of society, me included, probably you, to increase its distance from its food source. And again, out of sight, out of mind. As a result, over time, we have become less aware of how our food reaches the table, or as is the case in the United States, reaches our car window. Take a look at that picture. That is not monoculture. You know, it's somebody's backyard growing a variety of food. There are many places in the world where the quality matters much more than the quantity. And indeed, the local populations are very proud of their unique or high quality product of food. And look, many of you guys have families in other countries. Think about when you visit your families in some other country and the way they think about their food in almost every case. And if they live on a farm, they really understand their food. So a lot of times, people who understand that are protective of their food, and they vote against and or boycott any attempts to simplify it or water it down or alter it or industrialize it. For most of us, the supermarket changed that. With the supermarket, we were told, don't worry about those things. We have everything for you all of the time and it's cheaper. Look at all those perfectly round red tomatoes and those perfectly shaped gorgeous yellow lemons. Have you ever grown tomatoes or lemons? Most of them are not perfectly shaped. I mean, if you haven't ever seen a lemon tree, go take a look at the way the lemons grow. It's kind of weird sometimes. That brings me to a story about the US and France. So I'm going to use France as an example. It could be almost any place. If you go to France and you go to dinner, when you sit down at that table, you basically own that table for the evening. It's not like Chili's where they're trying to get you up after 45 minutes to get somebody else at that table. Each individual plate is going to come first the appetizer or the amuse-bouche, and then some salad or soup, and then the main course, and then the dessert, and the coffee, and the wine, and all this stuff, because they see it like this. They see it as an experience. You're sitting with this other person who you love or who you want to get to know. You want to know about their day. You want to know about their life. You're having an entire experience while you are eating. You know what the French stereotype of Americans is? Where they're going to sit for 3 hours. You know what they see us doing? We drive up in a 4,000-pound vehicle up to a clown head We roll down our window. We speak into the clown head. We drive around a semicircle. We give some money to somebody dressed in a clown suit at one window. We drive up to the next window, and they give us this huge bag of this salty, smelly, greasy food and a gigantic sugary drink, which we then shove into our faces as we drive home and throw the refuse, the paper and all that out the window. That's the stereotype of us. And don't tell me it doesn't have some validity, because it does. Remember, traditional farming methods required diversity of crops and animals on the landscape, and it required far more people to tend the land and procure sustenance. People understood where their food was coming from. In some ways, the land had to sustain itself with animal waste and slurry used to support the soils and crop rotation used to prevent nutrient burnout. So what is soil? Soil is critically important on this planet. You and I are not here without it. That's right, without dirt. Soil is the link between the organic and inorganic worlds, and it's composed of rocks, minerals, and organic material. Do you know what organic material is? It's stuff that either is or was once alive. Do you know what inorganic material is? It was never alive, like granite. It's a type of rock, right? Like countertops are made of it. That was never alive. There was never a moment when granite walked the earth. Inorganic material, so the minerals and rocks, can be classified by size. And generally we break it up like this. Sand, which is the largest component of soil. Silt, which is barely visible to people who have great vision. And clay, which is microscopic. Those three things make up the inorganic components in soil. But soil is a living organism. One handful of soil, literally, if it's healthy soil, has more living creatures in it than there are human beings on planet Earth. That's one single handful of healthy soil. Look at it. It's just dirt, but wow, is it ever great. We can't be here without it. Soil is the skin of the earth. No skin on a human being? That equals death. So I took that picture at the main cathedral in Milan, Italy. That's some Christian saint who was murdered for Christianity, and the way he was murdered was he had his skin stripped off of him. And if you look at that drapery that he has around him, that is his flesh, his skin. When you peel the skin off a human being, they're going to die. So no soil on earth, that also equals death. It's part of the important web of life. Do you know who John Muir was? John Muir, the famous John Muir from California. He was really from Scotland, but he kind of helped establish Yosemite National Park and lived in California and died in California. He once said something like this: the more you examine each little thing, the more you realize that its wagon is hitched to every other thing, which means everything is related. And so even something as simple as dirt, we have to take care of that dirt. A diverse farm, in other words, mixed crops and livestock that I'll be talking about shortly, on a small scale, that used to support the farmer and the product was sold locally mostly, slowly got squeezed to keep up and stay profitable against the increasing magnitude of the large-scale industrial farming techniques. For the small farmer, first the horses would go because of the use of mechanized machinery, and that would cause the oat crop to go because the horses were gone. Then the pigs would go, along with small flocks of chickens and turkeys that pecked around the farmhouse and produced meat and eggs for the farmer and the local market. Why would they go? Because pork, poultry, and eggs from factory farms could outcompete these smaller operations. It's economics of scale. The small farmer would then turn to the simplification of the landscape, from diversity to monocultural landscapes, in order to compete with the big boys. And where did the farmer buy the tractors, the combines, the fertilizers, the herbicides, the antibiotics, the feed, and the seeds? From the large companies that both sold those things and purchased the products grown on the farms. Those large companies monopolized the industry and smashed the competition. They were not so much trying to sell you the best product, they were trying to sell you the cheapest product. And for some people, cheapest is best. Look at the popularity of Walmart and how it has blown away smaller businesses. What does monoculture do to the soils? Well, because you're only growing one crop, it strips the soil of nutrients. How would the farmer combat the loss of nutrients? By buying nutrients to infuse into the soil. Where would the farmer get chemical fertilizers to replenish the soil? Where do you think? From those same big companies. What do those chemicals, combined with pesticides and herbicides, do to the living biotic component of the soil? They kill it. And when that happens, you no longer really have soil. And so there's a constant need to infuse chemical things in order to pretend like you have soil. But in reality, you don't have it. If you dig in the soil and there's no worms, you probably don't really have soil. What's the simplest solution to this problem? Crop rotation and periods of fallow. And what does fallow mean? Fallow means allowing the landscape, the farm landscape, to sit and not grow anything. Just whatever grows naturally, let it do that. And then plow that up after a year or after 2 years. Sometimes what farmers will do is they'll plant clover because clover can just be plowed back in and it's excellent at restoring soil. This is what fallow is about. Letting the landscape lay dormant, which is healthy for the soil.